Are you arriving in France tomorrow and already dreaming of warm croissants, delicious wine, and the illuminated Eiffel Tower? Before you set foot on French soil, come with me, and I'll tell you everything you need to know to enjoy every second of your trip, without any headaches and full of incredible experiences. Arriving in France is an experience that blends excitement with small, unexpected surprises. Airports like Paris, Charles de Gaulle, or Lyon Saint-Exupéry can seem huge and even intimidating if you've never traveled there before. Immigration lines are often long, especially during peak season, so it's essential to have your passport, proof of accommodation, and visa, if necessary, ready. One important detail: French officials are known for being formal and direct, but that doesn't mean they're rude. A simple bonjour with a smile creates a positive opening and can make the process smoother. Another point worth noting is the arrival in the city itself. Unlike some destinations where you immediately feel the tourist vibe, France perfectly balances modernity with tradition. For instance, upon landing in Paris, you'll notice that even with skyscrapers and busy avenues, the city maintains an aura of living history. The streets, public transport, and even the cafes on every corner make you realize you're in a place with a deeply rooted culture, transportation, and language. Transportation deserves your attention. The metro in cities like Paris is efficient, but can be confusing if you're not familiar with the maps and lines. Apps like Citymapper or Google Maps help a lot, but it's always good to have a plan B, such as a physical map or printed main routes. Taxis exist but are more expensive, and ride-sharing apps work, although not always with the same speed as in other countries. Upon arrival, another important expectation is regarding the language. While many people speak English in tourist areas, you'll find that French is predominant in restaurants, shops, and on public transport. Having some basic French phrases ready makes a difference, not only for communication, but for building connections with locals. Phrases like merci, s'il vous plaît, and excusez-moi show respect and effort, and are often met with smiles and help in return. Embracing the French rhythm and culture, get ready for a different pace of daily life. In France, schedules are strictly respected. Restaurants might close between lunch and dinner, small shops may not open on Sundays, and cafes sometimes have limited hours, especially in smaller towns. This requires planning but also offers an opportunity to experience the country like a local, exploring markets and areas that tourists often don't see. The first impression of France also involves the senses. The smell of fresh bread from bakeries, the sound of French conversations echoing through the streets, and the architecture that blends classic with contemporary create a unique atmosphere. Even if you're tired from the journey, these details will start to immerse you in the French rhythm. Another aspect that stands out upon arrival is the interaction with locals. Unlike destinations where a smile and friendliness are immediate, there is an initial formality in France. But don't be fooled. Once the barrier of the first contact is broken, the French can be incredibly welcoming and even curious about visitors who show interest in their culture. This balance between initial distance and human warmth is part of the country's charm. And don't forget the weather factor. Depending on the season, Paris can be surprisingly cold or rainy, while cities in the south of France offer sunny days and mild temperatures. This impacts both what you'll wear and how you'll plan your activities. So being prepared will help you make the most of every moment. One of the first things you'll notice when exploring France is how much culture is present everywhere you look. It doesn't matter if you're walking down a street in Paris or visiting a smaller town in the countryside, there's always something to discover, from historic statues and facades to hidden galleries and small bookstores that seem straight out of a movie. Museums, of course, are a highlight. The Louvre is enormous and home to iconic works like the Mona Lisa, but even smaller museums like the Musée de l'Orangerie or the Musée Rodin offer unique experiences without the huge crowds. Each region has its own cultural charm, and exploring neighborhoods like Le Marais in Paris or the historic center of Lyon gives you the feeling of living in another era. And the gastronomy, French gastronomy, deserves its own chapter. Warm baguettes, fresh from the bakery, melt-in-your-mouth croissants, and artisanal cheeses you'll be hard-pressed to find elsewhere are just the beginning. Be sure to try the typical regional dishes, too. Cassoulet in Toulouse, bouillabaisse in Marseille, and quiche in Alsace. And if you love wine, get ready to fall in love with the vineyards of Burgundy, Bordeaux, and Champagne, where every bottle tells a story. Cafes are almost an institution. Sitting at a sidewalk table, people watching, and having a coffee with a pastry is something you'll want to do again and again. Architecture and everyday life. Beyond the food, French architecture is a spectacle in itself. Gothic churches, Renaissance palaces, and historic bridges create scenes you've likely seen in movies, but nothing compares to seeing them in person. The Eiffel Tower, of course, is an icon. But the real magic is in walking the streets and noticing details like colorful doors, ornate balconies, and even hidden fountains in the less touristy neighborhoods. Every corner offers an opportunity to take unique photos and experience the local atmosphere. Another positive point is the diversity of experiences the country offers. You can spend the morning exploring local markets, the afternoon at a museum, and end the day with a walk along the Seine or at a countryside vineyard. This variety allows each trip to be personalized, catering to those who seek culture, gastronomy, or nature. And speaking of nature, the south of France, with its beaches and lavender fields, offers an incredible contrast to the intense urban life of Paris, allowing for completely different experiences without leaving the country. Fun fact: the French value simple, everyday moments. Even in large cities, it's common to see people enjoying cafes, long lunches, or outdoor walks. This creates a unique atmosphere where being present in the moment is valued just as much as visiting the major tourist sites. Additionally, local events and festivals happen year-round, from Christmas markets to music festivals and art fairs. Participating in these events provides an authentic glimpse into French life and allows for more genuine interactions with locals. And we can't forget the ease of intercity transport. High-speed trains connect Paris to Lyon, Bordeaux, Marseille, and other regions quickly, allowing you to explore different parts of the country in just a few days. This broadens your possibilities for cultural, culinary, and historical experiences without the worry of long travel hours. Even with all the wonders France has to offer, it's important to be aware of some common pitfalls and situations that can ruin the experience if you're not prepared. In tourist cities like Paris, Nice, or Lyon, scams are common, especially in busy areas and at tourist spots. One of the most frequent scams involves persistent street vendors offering bracelets, flowers, or small souvenirs. They often start a friendly conversation or ask for help tightening something, and you quickly find yourself pressured into paying high prices. It's easy to feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to this kind of approach, but the best strategy is to stay calm, smile politely, and walk away without giving in to the pressure. Another common scam involves people asking for money or help with emotional stories. Generally, these are street performers or individuals who use children to attract attention. While it might be tempting to help, it's important to realize the situation isn't always genuine. Observe discreetly, and, if you want to contribute, it's better to donate to recognized local organizations or leave a small amount in official contribution boxes at tourist attractions. Transportation and prices. Public transportation is another area that requires attention. The metro, buses, and trains are efficient, but your pockets, wallets, and bags should always be kept in sight. Pickpocketing and petty theft happen, especially during peak hours and at crowded stations. Crossbody bags or front wallets are simple strategies that help prevent problems. Also, be careful to validate your tickets and transport passes, as inspectors are often strict and fines can be high. Prices can also be a shock. Restaurants and cafes in tourist areas tend to charge much more than places frequented by locals. A simple coffee on the Champs-Élysées can cost twice what you would pay in a residential neighborhood. Planning meals away from the tourist routes is not only more economical, but also an opportunity to experience authentic local cuisine, cultural etiquette, and daily life. Cultural shocks can arise, especially in the way the French communicate. Unlike in some countries where friendliness is immediate, in France, there is an initial formality that can be misinterpreted as coldness or indifference. For example, when entering a shop or restaurant, it is considered polite to greet the staff with a bonjour or bonsoir. Ignoring this can lead to a less than receptive service. Additionally, speaking loudly in public, especially on public transport or in cafes, is frowned upon and can draw negative attention. Another thing to be mindful of is the rhythm of daily life. Smaller shops might close early or not be open on Sundays, and lunch hours can be long, especially in small towns. Failing to plan ahead can result in frustration or the need to improvise meals. It's also important to observe simple rules of etiquette, such as not taking photos of people without permission, not cutting in line, and respecting cultural spaces like churches and museums, where quiet behavior is expected. Furthermore, some neighborhoods in large cities can be less safe at night. Central and tourist areas are usually well policed, but peripheral regions require extra caution, especially after dark. Planning your routes, avoiding deserted streets, and always being aware of your surroundings are simple actions that will increase your safety. France is a country full of small surprises that go far beyond the most famous tourist spots. One of the first curiosities you'll notice is the French passion for cafes and local markets. Unlike some places where coffee is just quick fuel, in France, it's a ritual. It's common to see people sitting for hours, enjoying their drink with a croissant or simply watching the street life. And the local markets? They are true treasures. Fresh fruits, artisanal cheeses, flowers, and even traditional cleaning products that seem to come from another era. Strolling through a French market is a complete sensory experience, and you'll often discover products you won't find in regular supermarkets. Architectural diversity and cultural traditions. Another interesting curiosity is the country's architectural diversity. In Paris, for example, besides the classic buildings, you'll find modern neighborhoods with glass structures and bold designs, like the Pompidou Center. In the countryside, cities like Colmar or Annecy look like something out of a fairy tale, with canals, stone bridges, and colorful houses. Each region has its own visual identity, and noticing these differences makes you realize how rich French culture is. Speaking of culture, the French have traditions that might seem curious to outsiders. One example is the way they celebrate holidays and festivals. On July 14th, Bastille Day, it's practically a national party. Parades, fireworks, and cultural events take over the streets. But there are also smaller traditions, like the Christmas markets that spread across the country, or regional festivals tied to the grape harvest, which allow you to experience France in an authentic way, far from traditional tourism. Food and daily life. Gastronomy also holds its curiosities. Many regional dishes have stories that date back centuries, and some ingredients might seem strange to visitors, like escargots in eastern France or liver-based dishes in Lyon. Another interesting point is that the French value quality over quantity. A simple meal at a local bakery or bistro often surpasses the flavor of an expensive banquet at a tourist restaurant. The French also have a unique way of dealing with daily life. For example, they highly value time with family and friends, which explains the long weekend lunches, or the preference for picnics in parks instead of crowded restaurants. Even in big cities, you'll notice that the priority isn't just rushing from one appointment to another, but enjoying the small moments of the day. Another curiosity is transportation. High-speed trains connect distant cities in a matter of hours, but the experience goes beyond practicality. It's common to see incredible landscapes during the journey, like vineyards in Burgundy or castles in the Loire Valley. And within the cities, shared bicycles and electric scooters are increasingly common, offering a different way to explore neighborhoods and discover less touristy corners. Even behavior on the streets has interesting details. Pedestrians have priority, but the French expect you to respect traffic lights and etiquette rules. Eating while standing or in the street, for example, is acceptable in some situations, but it's not the norm. The culture values the experience of sitting down, talking, and truly enjoying the moment. Ao visitar a França, entender algumas regras de etiqueta faz uma diferença enorme na forma como você será recebido. Os franceses valorizam educação e formalidade, e muitas vezes pequenos gestos de respeito abrem portas que palavras sozinhas não conseguem. Por exemplo, sempre que entrar em uma loja, café ou restaurante, é considerado essencial cumprimentar o atendente com um bonjour durante o dia ou bonsoir à noite. Não é apenas um detalhe, mas uma demonstração de cortesia que é levada a sério e que prepara o terreno para interações mais agradáveis. Em restaurantes, a etiqueta também merece atenção. Pedir a conta logo após a refeição é normal, mas não é educado sair correndo. Os franceses costumam fazer das refeições momentos de socialização. Se você for convidado para jantar na casa de alguém, leve algo simples, como uma garrafa de vinho, flores ou um doce. Evite exageros ou presentes muito caros, pois a intenção é demonstrar consideração, não impressionar. Outro ponto importante é o uso de celulares. Falar alto ou tirar fotos sem permissão pode ser visto como desrespeitoso, então sempre observe o comportamento local antes de agir. Além disso, os franceses costumam valorizar pontualidade. Chegar atrasado para um compromisso, mesmo que seja informal, pode transmitir desrespeito. Se você estiver hospedado em um Airbnb ou hotel menor, avisar com antecedência caso vá se atrasar é uma forma de mostrar consideração. Esse cuidado se estende a passeios e visitas guiadas, onde horários de entrada e saída são rígidos e desrespeitá-los pode atrapalhar não só você, mas também outros visitantes. Ao interagir com anfitriões ou locais, pequenas expressões em francês fazem grande diferença. Mesmo que você não domine o idioma, tentar dizer algumas palavras básicas como merci, s'il vous plaît ou excusez-moi demonstra esforço e gera simpatia. Evite confiar apenas no inglês. A tentativa de se comunicar no idioma local é sempre apreciada. Além disso, seja paciente em situações que envolvam burocracia, como check-in em hotéis ou reservas em restaurantes. Os franceses podem ser diretos, mas a cordialidade é sempre esperada em retorno. Em termos de comportamento social, respeitar o espaço pessoal é fundamental. Diferente de alguns países onde abraços ou toques são comuns entre estranhos, na França o contato físico é reservado para relações mais próximas. Um aperto de mão firme ou um beijo no rosto entre conhecidos é suficiente. Qualquer gesto excessivo pode ser interpretado como invasivo. Também é importante observar a maneira como se veste. Mesmo em cidades grandes, roupas muito informais ou esportivas podem se destacar de forma negativa em certos contextos, como restaurantes, teatros ou áreas históricas. Quando estiver em casa de anfitriões ou em experiências culturais como degustações de vinho ou visitas guiadas, siga as instruções com atenção. Comer antes da hora indicada, se servir sem permissão ou interromper conversas locais pode ser visto como falta de educação. Participar de forma respeitosa, ouvir atentamente e demonstrar interesse pelas explicações aumenta a conexão com o local e garante que você aproveite melhor cada momento. Outro detalhe é o hábito francês de manter o ambiente limpo e organizado. Em cafés, restaurantes e mesmo em áreas públicas, é comum que as pessoas recolham suas próprias coisas ou evitem bagunça. Demonstrar cuidado com o espaço, não deixar lixo espalhado e respeitar regras simples de convivência é uma forma de mostrar consideração pelos anfitriões e pelo país como um todo. France is a safe country for the most part, but like any tourist destination, it's important to stay alert to avoid setbacks. One of the first recommendations relates to personal belongings. Purses, backpacks, and wallets should always be in sight, especially on the metro, buses, trains, and in crowded tourist areas. Front pockets or crossbody bags are a simple and effective way to reduce the risk of theft. Avoid leaving valuables in back pockets or easy-to-open compartments, as petty theft is common in busy regions, even when you're just taking photos or admiring the view. Navigating public transport and staying alert at night. When it comes to transportation, be wary of people who approach you offering excessive help or trying to start suspicious conversations. Often, people with ill intentions will approach tourists at metro stations or tourist sites, asking to tighten a watch, sign a petition, or carry heavy objects. The safest course of action is to politely decline and go on your way. Regarding public transport, always validate your ticket or pass before boarding. Inspectors can appear without warning, and fines are strict and can be quite high, so avoiding problems is a matter of simple attention. Additionally, it's important to be aware of your surroundings at night. Central and tourist areas usually have regular police presence, but peripheral neighborhoods can be less safe after dark. Planning your routes, avoiding deserted streets, and being alert for warning signs like suspicious groups or poorly lit streets will help keep your trip smooth. Using reliable map apps or asking your hotel or host for recommendations on safe areas is also a good practice. Managing your valuables and personal safety. Another point of caution is using ATMs. Prefer to use those located inside banks or secure establishments rather than isolated machines on the street. Check for suspicious people nearby or any strange devices attached to the machine, as card cloning scams can occur, though they are not extremely common. Important documents like your passport, credit card, and accommodation reservations should have physical or digital copies stored in separate locations. Having a photo or PDF saved on your phone or in a secure email is useful if something is lost or stolen. It's also a good idea to have a local emergency contact or the consulate's number for any situation that requires quick support. When exploring cities and tourist neighborhoods, avoid flaunting valuables like expensive jewelry, large cameras, or prominent cell phones. This not only reduces the risk of theft, but also helps you maintain a low profile, allowing you to enjoy the experience more relaxed. It's also worth paying attention to situations that involve distraction, such as asking for information or taking photos in busy places. Scammers may take advantage of tourists who are focused on the scenery to attempt quick approaches. Staying aware and, if possible, walking with a companion or in small groups increases your safety. Traveling to France might seem expensive at first glance, but with a few simple strategies, it's possible to enjoy the country without breaking the bank. One of the first points is transportation. While taxis and private car services exist, they tend to be expensive, especially in cities like Paris. Opting for public transport is an efficient and economical alternative. The metro, buses, and urban trains connect virtually the entire city, and if you plan your routes, you can get around quickly and cheaply. Additionally, multi-day transport passes can significantly reduce the cost of daily travel. Another tip is to buy tickets for attractions and museums online in advance. Many places like the Louvre or the Palace of Versailles offer discounts for early purchases or for visitors who can skip the regular lines. Not only do you save money, but you also save time, which is valuable in a city where every minute can be spent exploring new experiences. In smaller towns, local fairs and museums often have free entry on certain days of the week or at special times, and keeping an eye out for these opportunities can lead to free cultural experiences. Saving money on food and experiences. When it comes to food, there are ways to save money without sacrificing quality. Restaurants located in tourist areas tend to have inflated prices, so seeking out places frequented by locals is a great strategy. Bistros, bakeries, and markets offer delicious meals at much more accessible prices. Buying fresh products at markets and making your own picnic is another way to save, and at the same time, experience the French lifestyle sitting in a park or on the banks of the Seine to eat at your leisure. Furthermore, France is perfect for walking, which allows you to explore neighborhoods and sites without spending money on additional transport. Walking the streets of Paris, the historic districts of Lyon, or the medieval towns in the countryside is a way to save while discovering details that would be missed on a car or bus tour. Walking also lets you find hidden cafes and shops where prices are fairer and the experience is more authentic. An interesting tidbit is that many French cities offer tourist discount cards, which include public transport and entry to various attractions for a fixed price. These cards can be purchased for 1 or several days and are ideal for those who want to visit multiple attractions in a short time, ensuring both savings and convenience. Another important tip is to take advantage of supermarkets and local shops to buy basic items like water, snacks, and fruit. In tourist restaurants, the price of these same items can be much higher. Additionally, looking for promotions and seasonal products in local markets allows you to try fresh, typical regional ingredients without spending a lot. If you enjoy buying souvenirs, prefer small shops, markets, or craft fairs, items sold directly by local artisans are generally cheaper and more authentic than souvenirs purchased at major tourist spots. France is a country full of history, culture, incredible gastronomy, and unique experiences just waiting for you. By paying attention to the small details, practicing basic safety precautions, and keeping an eye out for ways to save money, you can enjoy every moment stress-free. So pack your bags, open your mind, and get ready to make memories that will stay with you forever. Every street, cafe, and museum has a story, and the best part is that now you know how to enjoy it all in the best way possible.